please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Perry, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Clark. Here. Councilman Hughes.
Here.
Councilman Stanley.
Here.
Councilman Wendell.
Here.
Council President Spadafino.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231 Public Laws 1975, specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known the agenda by posting a copy on the Municipal Building Public Notice Bulletin Board located in the main lobby, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk in accordance with the certification which will be entered in the minutes.
Thank you very much. Seeing no statement of notice or presentations or agenda session, I will move straight on to the public hearing. A 2018 fiscal year Community Development Block Grant. Linda Rubenstein, please take the podium.
Hello. Thank you for allowing me to hold this public hearing at this council meeting. This public hearing is a requirement of the Community Development Block Grant Program. Its purpose is to provide information, answer questions, and solicit suggestions for potential grant recipients. The Community Development Block Grant is a federally funded program. Money comes directly to Middlesex County for projects in 18 municipalities called the Urban County. East Brunswick is a sub-grantee of the county allotment. There is no guarantee that this program will be continued in 2018. It's part of the federal budget, so we are operating optimistically that it will be funded. We expect that this year East Brunswick's grant will be around $95,000 to be divided among several worthy projects. The objectives of the Community Development Block Grant Program are community activities that will benefit principally low and moderate income individuals and families, the elderly, and the handicapped. American with Disabilities Act compliance is an approved activity. Preservation of historical sites, elimination of slums and blight, provision of decent housing through expansion of housing opportunities, and correction of health and safety code violations through housing rehabilitation are all eligible activities. Prior East Brunswick projects under this program include, but are not limited to, ADA modifications to municipal buildings and parks, improvements to our historical and affordable housing buildings, food for local food pantries, repairs and capital improvements for nonprofits serving developmentally disabled seniors and low-income residents. Only capital projects will be considered. Projects must be completed within 18 months of the grant allocation, otherwise funds will be transferred to other eligible projects. I've already contacted the municipal executive staff to inform them about the objectives of the program and solicit applications for specific projects. I am also appealing to the township residents to call me on behalf of nonprofit organizations serving the public to discuss potential projects and obtain applications. I'm happy to answer questions from the Township Council tonight and members of the public here. I'm in the Planning and Engineering Department in the municipal building. My phone number is 732-390-6870. Submissions are due by February 23rd in my office. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, Linda. Yes, would this grant also encompass if we would have a project to do upgrades, safety upgrades for seniors in their own homes in terms of if they have mobility issues, safety bars, OSHA, is it OSHA, the height requirement toilets, anything of that nature?
This project has to benefit the general public. So not in an individual.
It wouldn't be in an
No.
individual setting. It would have to be a public.
Right, a public place
facility.
for ADA accessibility.
I see. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to reports. Mayor, Dr. Cohen.
Thank you, Council President. The only thing I have tonight is I wanted to remind residents that tomorrow we're going to be doing a first ever public strategy meeting over at the Community Arts Center at 7 o'clock, and that is primarily to discuss the plans for redevelopment as we stand at this point in time, and to solicit community input on things that they would like to see within that plan. As we approach a time where we're really ready to park things on a page in terms of what that redevelopment zones will look like, it's important now that we recognize that those properties are not owned by the township. So ultimately, in order to get what the township wants, it's going to be a negotiation process with developers and owners of properties, or potential owners that may want to come in and bid on those properties. But at the end of the day, it's a negotiation. So to start out at a point where we have everything on paper that we would want as a township, whether that be what the buildings look like, what those purposes are, what community purposes we could provide in that space. This is the time for the community to come out and have their say on what that's going to look like, knowing full well that at the end it's a negotiation. You'll never get everything that you want, but we have to start out on our side with as much as we would like for the community. So this is really an opportunity for the public to come out and give their thoughts on what they'd like to see. So again, it's a community arts center, 7 o'clock in the evening, and it's open to the entire public.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Township Administrator, Mr. Crispolo.
Yes, just one update. There was some of the council members asked about an update on the seating in the council chambers here, the public seating. I'm happy to announce that the selection has been made, the chair, the style, the wood, the type of fabric, and so on. Now will be sent into the vendor that is now part of the Education Service Commission co-op, which we get a sizable discount on the price, and we'll be reporting back to the council, hopefully at the next council meeting or the following, for a resolution to go out and begin the project there. Soon thereafter, of the coordinated naturally with the court and so on. Thank you.
Thank you. Director of Law, Mr. Baker.
Nothing this week, Council President.
Township Clerk, Ms. Perry.
Nothing, thank you.
Any council member have a committee report or anything to report?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell.
Just on behalf of the RPAB, I want to let everybody know there's a fee schedule in tonight's packet that we're looking to, we're being asked to vote on, and this fee schedule has been reviewed and approved by the members of the RPAB, and has been endorsed for, movement from us. So
That's it?
that's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Clark.
Yes, I attended my first, again, water advisory board meeting, and I'd like to advise all the residents of the town, and I was relieved to find out that, no, we weren't crazy regarding all the breaks, the water breaks that have been happening. I requested the statistics, and just to give you an idea, I looked at the breaks from a period from November through January, all inclusive. So that would be like November, December of one year going into, of course, the next year of January. And in 2015, 14-15, there were 34 breaks. In 2016, there were 16 breaks. 2017, which was last winter, there were 20. In November through January of this year, there were 37, which is right now the most breaks in the past 4 years. Now, with that said, so we're not crazy. It was not heightened because of Nixle that you thought that you were getting more. There were more. However, the good news here is that, one, proactively, the water department is going through, and anytime there are street openings or resurfacing, not resurfacing, but excavations, they're going to look to ensure that they can do as much work as possibly they can do. Also, on multiple breaks that you have, it's not as easy as looking at a garden hose and saying, I fixed the break. This is very complex, and these pipes that they're repairing run through different types of soils. When you shut the water off, when they shut the water main to make the repair and it's turned back on, it's a delicate balance to get the pressure back and not to put too much initial pressure on a pipe that's allowed to relax somewhat. If you put it on too suddenly, it's like a rubber band. You pull it and it's going to snap. If there are any other weak joints, those are going to break. You know, it's a difficult thing. They do a fantastic job. But I just wanted to advise you of that. And the water tower at Summerhill, on Summerhill Road, I had to press, but it provided that all things go well, and there is an outside contract service that they have to rely on as well. If everything goes as planned, by April 1st, it should be back in business. And that was it on the water. I'll leave the rest for the good of the cause. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else, Mayor?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump off what you said for a second regarding the water mains. It has been a terrible season, and when we look back at the studies, we frequently just go by year, and that's not a fair way of looking at numbers, because you should go by a season. And when you go by a season, which overlaps a year, you're correct. This year has been significantly worse. But
well, regardless, you get the same. If you added one to the next, you'd still come out with
no, because if you looked
numbers.
at just 2017 and not add in the fact that we had a significant number in January of this year, it would make 2017 not look like a bad year, and it would actually have made 2015 look worse. But if you look at a winter, you have to add in January of this year, which skews it to
well, Mr. Mayor, I don't think that the public was...
I'm agreeing with you.
Yes, I understand that, but it's...
And but the point I was trying to make is that it's not just an East Brunswick problem. We've had an exceptionally bad winter where there's been extreme shifts in temperature, which has caused a problem throughout the whole state. In fact, the League of Municipalities devoted an entire issue to the discussion on water main breaks, because it's been a problem throughout the whole state. So I just didn't want residents thinking that we've neglected our system.
Well, no, and I was quick to point that out, but by the same token, I wasn't the one that ever said, oh, it's all the Nixle alerts that we get that makes you think that there's more. There were more, significantly more than there were in the past 2 years. That was the only point that I was trying to make, other than that they work very hard.
Okay. Okay, moving on to the public portion. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, approach the podium, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes to speak. Direct all of your statements and questions to the chair. Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak this evening?
Hello, my name is Arjun Deepak. I live in 15 Clayton Court. I'm here to tell you a story about my life and how our public library was able to turn it around. I was born in Manhattan in the East Village. I lived there for about 4 years old until I was 4, and then we were forced to move to Austin, Texas. This was a huge move for my parents, but it wasn't that huge for me because I was just a little 4-year-old who just cared about having fun and eating food. Eventually we got settled, lived there for a while, and I was a really big fan of planning back then. I had my whole life planned out. I knew exactly how the rest of my middle school was going to go, how the rest of my high school career was going to go, how college, where I would have my job, where I would live, the works. Little did I know how wrong this plan would be. My whole world got turned upside down once again when both my parents lost their jobs. They were both forced to look for work. My mom was eventually able to find a job in Monmouth County, so we had to move cross-country again to New Jersey. We chose to live in East Brunswick because of its excellent reputation for its schools. But this transition was really difficult, especially me being 12 at the time. I had to deal with all the stress of moving, my parents losing their jobs, along with the stress of growing up. I spent my first summer here, holed up in my room, reading, playing video games, and talking with old friends, trying to distract myself from the impending hardships that was starting in a new school in a new state. Previously, I'd gone to new schools, but it was different this time. Before, everyone was changing schools, but now I was the odd man out. I not only had to adjust to a new school, but also break into new social circles and make new friends. At the time, I was a very shy and quiet kid. As you can see, that's clearly changed. Many people assumed that they never met me because I was really quiet. So the first months of school was really rough. It was really tough for me to make friends, especially since I was really quiet. I would mainly just struggle to get through the day, through the silence and the solitude, and then get home, read books, play video games, and try to drown out all the silence that would have happened during the school day. This continued till my mom saw a post on the library website for an event called Tag. Initially, she thought this was a huge, big, teen-wide tag game where all the teens would go out into the park area and just play tag. But after a closer inspection, she realized it was actually for the teen action group. Being a professor of social work, she loved this idea. Teens being active in their own community, improving it and making it better. So she dragged me by the ear and brought me to the library to the first meeting. I was really nervous at the first meeting because I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really make any friends. I was just about shaking. But as I entered the room, I was met with an instant acceptance. The solitude and silence that had followed my school life was finally broken. Everyone was extremely friendly to me and accepted me. Tag gave me a sense of community that was missing in my life. It gave me more confidence in my ideas, especially since whenever anyone gave an idea, it was always accepted and thought out to see how was the best way it could be implemented to help the community and be implemented in the library. Volunteering also gave me a sense of accomplishment. Helping people, helping kids especially, is very rewarding and makes you feel like you're doing something when you are. After doing this for a while, I finally mustered up the courage to ask the planned event myself. I was expecting a soft no or at least a setback, but to my surprise, I was told to plan it out. This was so shocking to me. I was finally being treated as an adult, something that many teens wish for. I share this story tonight because I believe that TAG and the library are an important part of our town. TAG provides volunteers. Volunteers help out with the amazing events that the library puts out on a daily basis. It also gives teens an outlet for their ideas for events. Most importantly, especially to me, it creates a sense of community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Hello, my name is Kirtana Manivasagan. I live on, I just moved, 527 Old Ridge Turnpike. Funnily enough, my story also starts with me moving here in the winter of 4th grade. And I remember the first trip I made to was the public library. And that was where I got my first library card. In that sense, I was able to explore both fictional and real life worlds. Excuse me. And almost every break, every summer break, every winter break or spring break, I've always been at the library, 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 every day. And sometimes people consider it to be my second home, and I can't lie with that. It is some place where I feel comfortable and safe. The library has so much to offer in terms of its programs, and I know, especially from what I've experienced so far, considering the programs that we have, let's look at the adult programs, starting from there. I had actually volunteered over the summer for processing the books in the library for the adult book club. And within that, they had multitudes of books that adults could come in and share and discuss. It was this open idea, an open place to share ideas and share things with the community, things that you thought and things that were personal, but something that was invoking, thought-provoking. And in that sense, it allowed the community to discuss and come together. Adults of all ages, seniors and adults, anyone regardless of race, gender, and ethnicity, they were able to come and share their ideas. In that sense, the library is very vital to that. Beyond this, there were the international movie nights where they showed The Man Called Of, and they showed other movies as well. They also have technology programs in which adults, even if they do not have an educational background in America, or they come from foreign countries, or they still actually have no technological background, I should say. They have the ability to learn these things even at an old age, with the help of teens through Geek League, or the programs that the library have. And even beyond that, the library also has these programs, programs for the children and the teens. I know for myself that we've been able to promote programs such as TLC, where children can come every Friday during the summer to experience this new event that can allow them to learn different types of things. And essentially, in that sense, the library is the center of our community. It is what brings people together. I've met many different people at the library myself, and one interesting story is the man that I met who worked as a park ranger. He was writing his own novel, and he told me about it, and he had finally finished his novel one day, and I met him again, and he said that he finished his novel, and I think his ideas that he shared about his novel and his life as a park ranger were something that definitely impacted me, because it made me realize how many different types of people that there are. And the library gave me that opportunity, because I probably would have never met him if not for the library. And beyond that, the library has given opportunities to many other people. I have a friend. Her mother did not have a job and had lost her job recently, so she did go to one of the career counseling events that the library had to offer. That changed her life instantly. She was an immigrant from India who had an Indian background and also had a degree from India, and she was a doctor, but it was very difficult because she was an immigrant. But career counseling from the library helped to change her life. And in that sense, the library provides opportunities. And as I said before, the library provides a sense of community. It is the center of our community. And in that sense, the library is something that is very important to me, and I think for all of the residents of East Brunswick.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public wishing to speak tonight? If not, moving on to the consent agenda. All right, close the public portion. Moving on to the consent agenda, is there any council member wishing to have anything removed from the consent agenda? Yes,
D.
Ms. Clark. Excuse me?
D.
D. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Moving on. A, 16285, approval of the 2018 fee schedule for Division of Parks, Recreation, and Community Services. 16286, awarding contract extension for restoration, maintenance, and gel coat of the water slide at Crystal Springs Family Water Park, safe slide restoration not to exceed $31,800. 16287, awarding contract extension for mowing services, FTS Landscaping, Inc., $18,630. E, 16289, accepting grant agreement between the Township of East Brunswick and the State of New Jersey, CY, and for the Department of Environmental Protection Community Stewardship Incentive Program, grant identifier FS 18-022. F, 16290, authorizing the purchase of 3 Ford F-550 trucks, New Jersey State Contract 17 Fleet 00241, in the amount of $262,403 as part of the 2018 capital budget, Route 23 Auto Mall, LLC. 16291, authorizing the purchase of mobile column lifts under the New Jersey State Contract A80126 in the amount of $61,525.50 as part of the 2018 capital budget, Hoffman Services, Inc. H, 16292, authorizing the purchase of Vector debris body replacement under New Jersey State Contract A080126 in the amount of $87,001.16 as part of the 2018 capital budget, Jack Donahue Companies, I, approval of the bill list, approval of bills owed by the township to various individuals, companies, and accounts. May I have a motion for these consent agenda? Ms. Clark?
Motion to adopt?
Second, Councilman Wendell. Ms. Perry, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Clark?
Yes.
Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilman Stanley?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Council President Spadafino?
Yes. Moving over to D, 16288, authorizing the Township of East Brunswick to enter into a share service agreement with the Borough of Spotswood for the removal of snow of certain areas of the township. May I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Wendell, second by Councilman Hughes. Open this item for discussion. Councilwoman Clark.
I don't like this to get lost in the minutia, but the shared services agreement is for snow plowing, and this is for the good for the public, for the removal of snow in certain areas. The certain areas that this refers to are Crescent and Miller Street and Old Stage Road. East Brunswick will do the plowing on Old Stage Road, both the Spotswood and East Brunswick side. And Spotswood, the Borough of Spotswood, will be responsible for snow plowing on Crescent and Miller. So if any residents on those streets have concerns, you can contact the Department of Public Works appropriately for either East Brunswick for Old Stage or Spotswood for Crescent and Miller, just as a point of information for the public.
Good point. Ms. Perry, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Clark?
Yes.
Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilman Stanley?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Council President Spadafino?
Yes. Moving on to ordinance requiring a public hearing date of February 26, 2018. There being none. Moving on to new business, approval of agenda action meeting minutes, January 22nd, 2018. Absent was Councilwoman Clark.
Motion approved.
Second.
Councilman Wendell. Motion, second by Councilman Hughes. Ms. Perry, please call the roll.
Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilman Stanley?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
And Council President Spadafino?
Yes. Moving on to the good of the cause. Is there anybody from the Councilwoman Clark?
Okay. Number one on this hit list is don't forget the Girl Scouts are having their annual cookie sale.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Clark.
Yes, yes. I brought appropriate props and you would all display the various types. And so don't forget to pick up a box. There's also a program, if you say, oh, I can't, I'm a diabetic, or I don't, I can't, I really shouldn't for my waistline. Remember that the Girl Scouts are more than happy to take your money. And then they have a program in place that the boxes are sent to the military, to our servicemen. So that's also, you almost get, double the bang for your buck there, because you're doing good for the Girl Scouts and supporting them, and you're also doing something for our servicemen and making a little girl smile. That's the best part of all. Then these are save the dates. Buddy Ball is being held February 24th, Churchill, 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. And on March 25th, this is a ways away, but you want to mark your calendar for this, is the Daisy Breakfast. It's our 35th year of the breakfast. The tickets, and I wanted to prepare you for this, there is going to be an increase in the ticket price from $10 to $15. But please keep in mind, and this is very, very important, this is a fundraiser for Daisy. So it's not as if you're just going out and expecting to buy a breakfast. Second, it's a buffet. I mean, all the food that you can eat, all the juice that you can drink. It would cost you a fortune for some of the plates that I've seen pass me by if you pay for it. Okay, so do keep in mind that it's a fundraiser, and hence this is the first increase in well over 20 years that we've had. So if you go back 20 years and think you were willing to shell out $10 then, fast forward cost of living to now, and it's not that terrible.
And there's a lot of great raffles.
Oh, yes, let's not forget the raffles. And unlike a lot of charities where 90%, 95%, maybe some rotten ones are 62% or 30%, 100% of your dollars 100% totally goes to the DAISY program. In other words, Austin Cossack and his program, his group, really hustle, and because of the good hearts of so many businesses in town, all of the cost is paid for so that your money goes directly, 100% of it, to the charity. Again, that's March 25th for Daisy, February 24th for Buddy Ball. And Girl Scout cookies, well, you can go online or go on Facebook and ask anybody where are they for sale. So, thank you for your time.
Anything else for the good of the cause?
Sure. I wanted to take a second to commend our two speakers from the Teen Action Group. I'm always heartened when there's more civic engagement in our community, and I am always a fan of when those who are civically minded are of a younger age. So I wanted to take a second to commend both of our speakers that were in the public portion this evening. I was going to do it privately, but homework waits for no one, and I know they've all departed because they've got school tomorrow. But I did want to say that they're fantastic public speakers and advocates for their cause. And if they are listening to the meeting or watching it on a replay on the EBTV website, I do want them to know that as council members that we take their concerns seriously. We listen to the stories that they have to tell, and we are listening. And with that, I'll turn the meeting back over to you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, may I have a motion to adjourn? So moved by Councilman Wendell, second by Councilwoman Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.